If you want to become a serious beer drinker, and by serious I don't mean someone who drinks huge amounts of beer, I mean someone who tastes and enjoys all the flavors in beer. So if you want to become a serious beer drinker, try to avoid these 5 mistakes. What's up, beer lovers and future beer lovers? I'm Alice from Beer Licking Good. I'm a beer sommelier based in Munich, Germany, the heart of Bavaria, the very homeland of beer, as Bavarian used to say. And I'm here to teach you all things beer related. Today's episode is all about what you should avoid doing if you want to become a serious beer drinker. But before we dive into it, if you're interested about today's episode, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already. And if you like the contents of it, just give me a thumbs up, push that like button. It would help me a lot. And also, if you want to find out more about beer in general and Bavarian beer in particular, go in the description below. There you have a link to my website where you can subscribe to my newsletter and get a beautiful ebook about 5 traditional Bavarian beers with all the styles described and a few recommendations for very, very good beers, traditional Bavarian beers for your next trip to Bavaria. So let's dive into today's episode, and we are starting with mistake number 1 that you should avoid. Don't drink your beer directly from the bottle or the can. Well, some brewers may have a different opinion on this topic, and I'm talking about the most famous one of them, John Kimmick from The Alchemist, who writes on the cans of his most famous beers, the Heady Topper, "Drink it from the can." Every beer sommelier out there, every beer expert will tell you that it's best to drink beer out of a glass. So to pour it into a glass first before you drink it. Why is that? Well, you can watch that in another video I did. It's called, I think, 3 tricks to make your beer taste better. So after you watch today's episode, you can go and watch that one and learn why that's important. But let's talk a bit about John Kimmick from The Alchemist. Well, I read an interview with him on this topic, and it's not because he says you should only drink beer from the can or his beer from the can, but it's about everything that can go wrong in between buying the beer and drinking the beer at home or somewhere else where you pour it into a glass. The most important thing is that he puts this beer in this can, and as it is canned, the beer is perfect. So it's got the right taste, it's sanitized correctly, the cans are sealed, they are safe from the sun and warmth and light. So if you chill these beers, if you keep them in a refrigerator, for example, there's no problem if you drink them from a glass. It's even a good thing to drink them from a glass, even if he doesn't say that. He says that his product is best from the can and kept cool. And he told a little story about drinking a bit from a can and leaving the can out for 2 hours and then coming back to the can, and the beer was still fresh and still carbonated because the carbon dioxide rises to the top and it keeps the oxygen away, so the beer doesn't oxidize. Oxidation is a very bad process for beer, so that's why beer shouldn't be exposed to oxygen for a long period of time. So imagine pouring this beer into a glass and coming back in 2 hours. The beer won't be good at all. You'll have to throw it away, or you find other uses for it. I'll have another episode on what to do with stale beer. But as you see, it's got nothing to do with drinking beer from a glass or not. It's got something to do with having the best quality and You will have a better beer if you drink it from a can than if you drink it from a glass that was washed in a washing machine with some aggressive detergent that still leaves some residue in it. So yeah, that's why sometimes it may be better to drink beer from the can. But also, if you think about it, when you pour beer into a glass, some of the carbon dioxide gets away, the gases get away, the aromas develop. I talked about that in my video about how to make beer taste better. And there's a very good side effect to this. You won't be burping that much. This may not seem an important reason, but believe me, it is. This may be fun when you drink with your buddies and everybody starts burping, but it's definitely not fun for a serious beer drinker. Mistake number 2. You chill your beer in the freezer. And this is something that many people do. They come home and they realize they haven't chilled their beer. They want an ice cold beer, or at least a cold beer. They put the beer in the freezer and they forget it there. Happened to me before I became a beer sommelier. I didn't think about stuff like this. I put it in the freezer and I forgot about it. After a couple of hours, I just heard a big sound and looked into the freezer, and there was an explosion and beer all around, and I just spent the next half an hour cleaning up my freezer. So I know from experience this is not a good idea. Some might argue that putting it into the freezer actually changes the taste of beer. Some people will say it doesn't influence the taste whatsoever, and I'm more of the latter opinion, I have to admit. Still, don't forget your beer in the freezer, because even a few ice particles change the texture of beer. So don't forget it in the freezer. Don't put it in the freezer in first place. If you forgot to chill it before you came home, just put it in the fridge and let it sit there for 2 hours and you're good to go. Mistake number 3, you gulp your beer down like water. And again, that might be fun sometimes. It might have a chilling, refreshing effect on you. But again, if you want to become a serious beer drinker, if you want to taste and enjoy beer, gulping it down like water won't help. You won't be able to get the scent in the aromas will not reach your nose. You won't give the beer time to breathe and to develop different flavors and aromas. You won't let the beer change temperature a bit and let different aromas develop in this time. Also, if you listen carefully, it's the same as number 1. If you gulp it down like water, you will definitely get to burp. There's no way around it, because you'll drink a lot of carbon dioxide with it. Mistake number 4, you drink cheap beer. Cheap beer is rarely good beer. So if you're into Bud Light, or if you're in Germany, you buy your Helles at the discounter supermarket, then this is not the right channel for you. Because this channel is for people who want quality beer, who want to learn more about quality beer and how they can find quality beer and how can they make the best out of this newfound quality beer. And I'm not saying that it's not okay to drink cheap beer once in a while at a party, or if you just want to get drunk with your buddies or your friends, or if you just want to have a good time and don't have that much of a budget, that's okay. Although, yeah, just wait for mistake number 5. But what I want to say is that quality is mirrored in price when it comes to beer. And I talked about this in past episodes as well. So yeah, don't buy cheap beer. Mistake number 5, you drink too much beer. As I just mentioned, I've got nothing against drinking a few beers with your friends and having a good time. But if you watched my last episode about the health benefits of beer, you know that drinking too much beer can cause serious damage to your body. If you're not that interested in these health issues and you don't think about it, that's fine, I don't judge. But if you're serious about drinking beer, you should know that the more beer you drink, the less you will be able to enjoy the taste, because your senses get dulled and you won't be able to take in the scents, the aromas, and you won't be able to discern between the different flavors, and you won't be able to enjoy the mouthfeel that the beer would give you when your senses are alert. So yeah, if you want to become a serious beer drinker, don't drink too much of it, especially not if you pay a premium price, because then it's really a shame and it's a waste of money. So yeah, these are the 5 mistakes that you should avoid. You should avoid drinking directly from the bottle or the can. You shouldn't chill your beer in the freezer. You shouldn't gulp it down like water. You shouldn't drink cheap beer. And you shouldn't drink too much beer. Avoid these 5 mistakes and you are on your way to become a serious beer drinker. If you liked today's episode, subscribe to my channel if you didn't already, give me a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and tell me in the comments below if you have any other mistakes to avoid when drinking beer. See you next time. Cheers and Prost.